For those of you who are looking for the breakout rooms, they are on the page in the conference software for this particular session. So if you go to the Juno page and scroll down, you will see that it says breakout room A, B, C, and D. Ignore D, but please just click on that little circle for A, B, or C, and that'll take you straight there. For those of you who have our collaborative notes open, you also will find the link in that collaborative notes document, so you can jump from the notes as well.
Hi, Kathy.
Hello, are you ready to continue with the rest of the session?
Yeah, I'm going to refresh because that's, again, a bit blurry.
So we'll just wait for the chairs to come back to the session, and then we will continue with the wrap up and closing.
So the breakout session B terminology is finished, and all people will be here, I think, soon.
Very good, Romain. We're waiting for the others, and in the meantime, I'm going to start sharing my screen for the final slide.
Yeah, I think the Group A are more or less finished and back in the main room now.
Great. Good to hear that. So just checking with all the three chairs, are all the three groups back in the main room? The third group as well? I think everyone is back. So really good. So I can't see you anymore because I'm sharing my screen. I only have a very small laptop, so I hope you can hear me. If not, shout out. Or if you can't see the screen, please shout out. So I share this final slide, and I hope you had a really good time in one of our breakout sessions. Thanks to the organizers of those breakout sessions, you really did an amazing job. I jumped in various of these sessions to see what was going on. So before I give the floor to each of the chairs to give a 1-minute recap of each of the breakout sessions and focus on the next steps and how to engage for the bigger group, I wanted to highlight that up to the next plenary, so that will be plenary 18, which is together with the International Data Week in 2021 between 8 and 11 of November in South Korea. We are going to continue to work on these three themes, and it's also good to point out that there are, in addition, as Christina already mentioned, to these three themes, we have more active groups, for instance, on the topic of training. So you're very welcome to join the Slack channel and to see what is going on in the different challenges groups. And what we will also do is, based on the results of the breakout discussions, we will continue to work on each of those themes and also report back to the bigger group on the progress made. And particularly, we will do this at the next plenary as well. So we're already looking forward to the next plenary, in which we will come back to the output on each of those three themes. So just to highlight again that this Professionalising Data Stewardship community only works, interest group only works because it is a community effort. So it is by and for the community. So we warmly welcome and invite you to join us via one of the links in the shared slide deck or in the shared session notes. Make sure to join the Slack community. Contact us if you have questions or topics or new ideas to share with us, and also join the formal working group page so we know you are with us on any of those topics. So I'm going to go stop sharing, and I'm going to give the floor to each of the three chairs to recap in 1 or 2 minutes the highlights of their breakout session, and mention to the bigger group how every one of us could be involved, what the next steps are, and how you are going to engage the bigger audience. For the first group, I'm going to stop sharing. Deborah or Richard, will you report back?
Sure. Thanks. Thanks so much. So we've had a really good session and had lots of really helpful input from all of the participants. The first thing we did was to look at what works well, what doesn't work so well in terms of data stewardship. So cases when data stewardship does work really well and not so well. Some fantastic examples provided, some great points that we can use to build up the business case. Some also really helpful feedback in terms of how others perceive data stewardship as well, and that's going to be really important for delivering the aspect on why data stewardship matters. So fantastic for that. Secondly, we talked about what the ideal data stewardship solution might look like in terms of what's the ideal role, what's the ideal when it comes to having data stewards within an organization, and how it supports analysts and researchers and other people who use data. And thirdly, everybody was able to chip in with some case studies based on their own experiences, and those are things that we can point to in our final output. We also very kindly, people have offered to work with us going forward. So we've got a few email addresses for folk, and we'll be in touch in the very near future to carry on this work. Deborah, please do let me know if I've missed anything.
That's great, Richard. Thank you very much. Maybe Romain would like to step in?
Yes, sure. Romain, tell me what happened tell the group what happened in your room.
So it was a really great session with lots of exchange without barriers. And thanks for all the participants, and particularly to Pete, that permits to see what are the existing words repaired in the Fair for Skills community. I think that we have a base to continue the work, and we used in the session a pool with 4 questions. The first one was about the existing challenge about terminology. So double meanings terminology is one of the challenge. Answer the works for all disciplines and different management workflows. That is another challenge. Getting high quality use case and taking into account interdisciplinary inconsistencies was another remark. Many are built with no clear use case. So the use case, we have to find use case to define all data steward terminologies, because the definition of data steward is not so clear between the disciplinaries. And for the second questions about the aims of the subgroup, how to produce recommendations in RDF formats and what is the content, they suggest a call for use case. The more we have, the better will be the result. They suggest a primer or guide to newcomer to using the terminology. To define use case, we need to map the landscape, so that's something common. And perhaps trying to consider the problematic terms that are source of confusions. In the third question, what are the possible toolbox on landscaping actions that we could have to enhance the work is to use a survey. It was several times said, and to integrate in Wikipedia or Wikidata. That's a good idea, I think. And for the roadmap, we have 3 propositions to be discussed, but I think that the people that was involved in this session will continue to work with us. So, in the team. So the first remark is to check what does not fit in Care for Fair skills and maybe create an orthogonal terminology using existing ontology to describe and to annotate all the terms before we create them. The steps could be design, prototype, evaluate, improve, repeat, and surveys for initiative, scope, use case, hackathon, and open and fair. So that's a quick summary, but there are lots of notes, and I'm really grateful of all the persons that takes notes, and particularly Laurence Mabil that said nothing, but she do the work to help me for the session.
Thank you, Romain, for your great summary of what happened in your group. So I'm going to give the last few minutes to Nicholas. I hope we all could stay for a few more minutes so Nicholas could give feedback on what happened in his group. So Nicholas, the floor is yours.
Phew, okay, sorry, it's a little bit unexpected. Okay, we spent a little bit more time on the presentations than we had hoped, but the document where we're soliciting input is open, and we have seen people, beginning to read and give input and make comments and suggestions, suggested changes. On the survey text and outline that's in that document, and of course there was also a lot of just general commentary while people were listening to, participants were listening to the 5 lightning talks. So most of our session was basically taken up with listening to the lightning talks and commenting on them in the document, but if there's anyone else who was in this session, I'd also be quite grateful if they wouldn't mind sharing from their perspective. I think that's sort of at the moment all I've got to say.
I think this is perfect already, Nicholas. So I think people could check back the notes made and the presentation. So just to make sure, we will make all presentations also in the breakout rooms available via a shared notes document. And I really thank every one of you, our chairs, our active group members, all participants today, for their active involvement in the breakout session and in the main session. So thanks a lot again, and I hope to see you in back in our Slack channel and in the efforts of our various groups. So thanks again, and see you at another session. And enjoy your lunch or break or bye-bye. Thank you.